Hello everyone, and welcome back to part two of my series on building Les Paul guitars. Uh, Last time we touched on selecting maple tops and gluing them together. And today I'd like to talk a bit about the material selection for the other parts of the guitar, the mahogany, the rosewood fretboard. So here I've got some different pieces of fretboard blanks, and we'll go through just what I look for in a fretboard. So these are all rosewood. Some are Brazilian, some are Indian. What I look for is basically a quarter sawn board, which this one is. I prefer darker boards to lighter boards. I also prefer not too crazy, looking grain. The other thing I do like to do is to tap test the boards. Now, there's a lot of controversy about tap testing. Some people claim that the tone of they're looking for certain tonal qualities. I don't know if I'd go that far. It's not, in my opinion, it's not like tap testing when you're building an acoustic guitar, for instance. You're tapping the soundboard, you're looking for a certain resonance and tonal qualities. A fingerboard for an electric guitar, I really have never been able to correlate, this tone is going to make this guitar sound this way. Not really. It's more a utility thing where when I tap test a piece like this, what I'm looking for is, does it have a nice long sustain? If there's a hairline crack in the board, you'll hear that right away. So it's kind of, just weeding out, easy to weed out a bad piece, really. But anyway, just to show you how I do it, I pick up the board at the quarter node. So if I were to measure a quarter of the way down, that's where I hold it, because when the board vibrates, this node here is inactive. It's kind of like when you do a harmonic at the 12th fret. The string is actually inactive right at that spot. Same idea. So here, I'm just going to tap it, and I've got my microphone set up here. I hope the mic heard that. Let's go on to number 2. Much higher pitch. And I think a shorter sustain on that one. Number 3. About the same pitch, but I think a longer sustain on this one. Yeah. And number 4. Here is the first one that is actually not quarter sawn. This one is pretty much flat sawn. Let's take a listen to this. Nice long sustain. Nice one. And number 5. This is just, I'm putting this one in just out of curiosity because it's been slotted. And look what happens to its pitch once it's slotted. That's like 2 octaves lower than the other guys. What does that tell me? Well, it just tells me that there's no cracks, and they all sound pretty good, all quite usable, and really it comes down to more which ones are quarter sawn, stiff. I can test for stiffness, but any of these boards will be fine. Here I've got 3 mahogany body blanks, and this is genuine mahogany, South American mahogany. We're going to see how many board feet exactly this piece is. And to do that, we'll measure the thickness at a few spots. So I've got 1.9 exactly inches. Let's see here. 1. Exactly 9. So obviously this thing has gone through a thickness sander, Yeah, this is 1.9 all the way around. So let's just mark that 1.9. And now we'll check the width. I've got 14 1/4 at this end, 14 1/8 at this end. So we'll average that and call it 14 3/16. We'll convert it to decimals later. Now for the length, I've got 23 7/8 at this side and 24 1/8 on this side. So we'll call that 24 to average it out. 24. Now in order to get our calculation for board feet, we'll take, let's see, 1.9 times 14.1875 times 24. That gives us 646.95. Now to get the board feet, we divide by 144, and we have 4.492 board feet. All right, now what we want to do is figure out how many pounds per board foot we're looking at on this piece. Ideally, I don't like to do anything more than 3 pounds per board foot for mahogany Les Paul body blank. I have a feeling this one is lighter than 3 pounds per board foot, but let's check it out. Now today, I forgot my digital scale, but I asked my mom to borrow her scale. This is a baking scale that she got as a wedding present 55 years ago. And it's still fairly accurate. So, let's throw that on top of there. I've zeroed the scale out already. So what do we got? Well, it's more than 4.5 kilos. More than 5 kilos. More than 5.5 kilos. Less than 6. Okay, so we'll go at 5.5 and start moving this finer scale over. And it wants to come to rest maybe just a hair more than that. That looks good. All right, so now that we know that the piece weighs 5.805 kilos, we convert that to pounds, which works out to 12.797 pounds for the piece. Now, previously we had worked out what the board footage was, and it was 4.492 board feet. 4.492. Now to get the pounds per board foot, we take 12.979 divided by 4.492, 2.89. 2.895 pounds per board foot. Now I went ahead and did the other two blanks as well, and they are a bit lighter. Blank number 2 here worked out to 2.61 pounds per board foot, and blank number 3 worked out to 2.48 pounds per board foot. And so this is the lightest one of them all. See that? This is absolutely critical. Here we are, part 2, And these are the tops that we glued up the other day. They're just sitting and kind of acclimatizing. There's the last one. I just did that today. So we're going to let these tops just sit, because if they want to twist or do anything they want to do, that's why these are the first things that I tackled, so that they can have some time to sit. Now we move on to the mahogany, and you're looking at this great big number 1 here. It's not really a number 1. This is a piece of mahogany stock that, as you can see, I've already cut necks from this stock. I've had this piece of wood for quite some time, years. And so it's totally stable. I'm going to be able to get 2 necks out of this one. Here I have another one. Now this one was sent to me by a client. And it is, I don't know anything about this wood, so I have to be a little bit careful, because who knows what the moisture content is when I cut it. I think I'm going to cut it a little oversized, and I don't know if you can see the grain here. It's pretty much 45 off the quarter, so I'm going to have to resaw this so that I get a quarter sawn billet out of it. So let's go. All right, so here's the neck as it came off the bandsaw. This is the blank that my customer sent me. So to me, it's kind of an unknown as far as how stable it is, what it's going to do. So I cut it oversized in every way, as far as width, thickness of the peg head, the whole thing, because I want to give it room. If it wants to twist around and move and acclimatize, I don't want to handcuff myself by finally, putting it to a final dimension. So I'm just going to clean up I've already planed the fretboard surface here, just a light plane to get it straight. And I'm going to clean up the peg head surface. Just going to draw a line across here where the transition is, just to make sure I stay square. Yep, that feels good. Let's check it out. Nice and straight. Great. Oh, and by the way, I made sure that I saved the piece that I bandsawed out of the billet, the blank for this, and I'll make the ears for the peg head. All right, so we're almost at the end of part 2 of making Les Pauls, and I think that the main theme of this video is the sequence of events of how I go about building. As you can see, it's not like I take one task, like building a neck, and then build it start to finish without stopping. For the same reason that I glued up the tops the last time, and I'm not doing anything with them. They're just sitting right now. They're stickered, acclimatizing, and so that's the main takeaway here, is that I want to rough in all of my blanks. So it's basically a neck shape. It's oversized in every way, and then I'm going to do one final thing, and that is I'm going to put a slot in for the truss rod, but I'm not going to make it two sides, which is a 3/16 route. I'm going to cut in a 1/8 inch wide slot. I'm going to use this table saw. It's got a 1/8 kerf, and so basically this is for the same reason. I'm roughing in the slot, and then I'm going to let the neck blanks sit, because sometimes if the wood wants to react, if I were to cut that 3/16 slot right off the bat, inlay a truss rod, glue in the maple filler strip right away, if the wood changes, then we're in danger of that that channel getting bigger, drying out, the walls of the channel, and then we're in real danger of having a rattling truss rod, which is a terrible thing. So that's why everything has its own sequence. We do a little bit and put it aside, move on to the next thing. The actual body blanks, I'm not so concerned about those. Those, once I start working them, I'll just work them and go through with it. But necks for sure, fretboards for sure, all that is a timing sequence. Just like pool cue makers. If any of you know anything about how pool cues, fine pool cues are made, it's all about the stability of the wood. The maker will take out a billet of, say, maple, turn it on his lathe just a little bit, and then put it away again for a month or more. And it will do its thing. It'll twist, warp, even ever so slightly. It'll acclimatize to its new state. And so then the maker will take the cue out again, put it on the lathe, clean it up nice and true, just a little bit, not nowhere near final dimension. Put it back in the bin, let it acclimatize again. We're not going that drastic here, but it's the same principle. So, like I say, the one last thing we're going to do here is to cut this slot into the neck. So let's go ahead.